Hey guys, what's up? Thanks for tuning in today. We have an unboxing coming at you this afternoon, and it's going to be of the Corsair Gaming K65 LUX RGB keyboard. This is going to be a mechanical keyboard. This particular model features Cherry MX red switches. It is a 10 keyless version of their keyboard. It's RGB. And also is fantastic. So we're going to open this thing up today. This is going to be the second Corsair keyboard that I do have. This will follow the full-size RGB keyboard that I do have by them, also Cherry MX Red. And I also have a Cooler Master Quickfire Rapid MX Blue keyboard to compare it to. So the reason for this is that I'm very much drawn towards the 10 keyless form factor of the mechanical keyboards. It's a little bit more conservative on the desk space, and I also kind of like some pretty fancy lights every once in a while, so that'll be pretty neat. And also, I like being able to go back and forth between MX Red or MX Blue depending on what I'm doing. In my experience, it seems like MX Blue is very easy for games and gaming in situations such as MOBA games, first-person shooters where you have a lot of left and right or WASD movements where you're using them primarily. It seems like the MX Red switch is going to be a little bit better for that. The actuation point, it's a more fluid response to the key as opposed to a tactile click or bump. So the red might be better for that, as well as typing. If you are playing something like a MOBA where you're just activating spells or abilities for a single press of some abilities, the MX Blue may be a little bit better for that. So with this keyboard, we're going to unbox it right now and just kind of take a look and see what we can do here for the unboxing video. So we do have some of these plastic seals here. We're gonna cut right through that and try and slide out this keyboard as efficiently as possible here. Open this bad boy up. All right. Really nice packaging. There is a little bit, you can probably tell, parts of it are glossy, parts of it are not. They've got the keyboard in what's called, this is actually either a UV coating or a spot gloss varnish is what we call it in the printing world, whereas the rest of it is just kind of flat or dull matte black. It really makes the print on the keyboard really stand out, gives it a nice little sheen there. So just kind of, some next level printing on the box, which is, it's always nice. A lot of people that have these sort of nicer peripherals or hardware, they like to kind of keep the boxes. So just kind of have that around for retail value or resell value is good. So you got this brown sort of nondescript box on the inside there. And we're going to open that up next. See if we can figure this out. Alright, so the first thing you see when you open this box is going to be the actual keyboard there resting inside the box. Looks like there's a flap with some of the USB plug and cord above that. I'm going to try and unthread this out and grab this keyboard out. Alright, so we've got the keyboard out. This is it, all packaged up. You've got the USB. It does look like this has the two USB plugs. From my understanding, if you have USB 3.0, one plug will be enough to drive the keyboard. If not, you will be using two USB plugs in order to drive and power the keyboard and all of its RGB goodness. So that is the first thing that we are prompted with in the box. Also in the box is the armrest manual and some other probably warranty cards and that sort of thing. So we're going to take this out of the package here. It looks like there is some tape sealing this here towards the back, so I'm going to try and open this up. And take it out of the sleeve. A couple differences that I've noticed, that I've seen on this board specifically, a couple things. So the first thing that you will see is that The font, they use a different font on this particular keyboard than some of the previous options. It seems to be a little bit more rounded. You can tell the Q is pretty stylized. They're pretty kind of like fat and chunky. Sans serif font, of course. A little bit of some stylistic choices there. Also, the spacebar actually has a little bit of this sort of rugged, almost like a grippy texture to it. So you'll notice that is different about the spacebar than the rest of the keys. In some of their keyboards, they also have the caps WASD that you can switch out that has that sort of texture on it. I have not used this keyboard or a keyboard with this kind of texture style to it, so I cannot speak to the value of having this added texture. Aesthetically speaking, I don't really care for it. I don't really care for it either way. I mean, it looks like it doesn't really stand out a whole lot. You can certainly feel a little bit of a tactile difference there. But that is one of the features on this particular keyboard that I will probably eventually ask if there's a replacement spacebar that you can switch it out for. I'm sure there's one somewhere, or you can get it somehow. You've got the brightness dimming keys on the top here. You also have a mute button, volume down, volume up buttons, as well as the Windows lock button here towards the top. So some added value there for some media. You've also got media keys here. Stop, left, play, right in terms of scrolling through your playlist or pausing any sort of media that you have. Non-standard layout for the keys. This is going to be custom dimensions for some of the buttons, such as the Control Windows Alt spacebar. So custom key caps for this is a little bit difficult to get, and probably not something you're going to be pursuing if you do go the route of the K65 RGB LUX version of the keyboard. This up here towards the top, this is another point of discussion here. I'll kind of peel this off. Some time ago, the Corsair brand had changed their logo that they were putting on some of their peripherals in their keyboards to something that is casually referred to as the tramp stamp in the peripheral industry. It's just a logo that I think caused a lot of backlash that didn't really go very well with the community. So people were doing all sorts of crazy mods to take off this new logo and replace it with the more standard traditional logo, which you do see here. So I am, kind of secretly pleased to see that this is the logo that is branded on this keyboard for the Corsair logo itself, which is a nice touch. I think that kind of seals the deal. Form factor on this thing is pretty nice. For a 10 keyless, you do have the addition of about probably an inch of space towards the top for some of the media keys, as well as a little bit of a lip towards the bottom. The good news is the supplied wrist rest is very comfortable with this, having already used it in the other Corsair keyboard that I have. I know that I will probably be adding that to this keyboard very, very shortly after I plug it in. It's just something that I've grown accustomed to, is having a little bit of a wrist rest. I think it helps to approach the keys in a more ergonomical fashion. But I think that this is going to be a nice purchase, and I think that I'm excited to use it. So with that being said, I'll go through some of the other features that I have and I just also have missed. There is also a USB pass-through on the top of this if you want to plug in any other peripherals or charge a device or something. I think it's going to be powered USB, so if you want to charge a device, I'll have to double check that and give it a shot to see what it does. So in terms of the specs, this is the K65 LUX RGB compact mechanical MX red switches. It does say that the Lux version of this is featuring a different driver for the LED lights, which a lot of the previous versions were limited in the color spectrum that they could hit, which would lead to some kind of like flashing almost of transitions of color if you have like a a transition or gradient effect between two colors. It would kind of blink or flash a little bit. This driver is supposed to be a little bit more fluid. LEDs are a little bit more. They've actually reached the millions of colors as of course all the marketing and stuff has dictated. So that's actually going to be possible in this keyboard. You've got the aircraft grade anodized brushed aluminum frame, so it does have a really nice solid look and feel to it. This does also state that it comes with the FPS and MOBA keycaps for alternative, the tactile feeling of those particular keys. I'm not a fan of those, as I mentioned, in relation to the spacebar. I think what I will do is just, if anything, what I like to do is change the RGB lighting on those particular keys. And the truth of the matter is, you're not going to be looking at the keyboard to determine where your fingers are going to go anyways. Usually you just kind of do that as a tactile response or just kind of a position comfort thing. So those are there, but I don't know that I will be actually exploring using those. And that's pretty much it. Everything is backed by the power of Q, as they call it, which is the profile actions, lighting and settings software for the keyboard. So there it is, guys. That is the Corsair K65 RGB LUX version. This is going to be plugged in. I'll set up some of the lighting and possibly add some shots of that. First up, we're looking at a custom set RGB profile for different colors for the MOBA custom keys, QWER, and some items below it. Next up is the full RGB spectrum disco mode. So if you want to just showcase all the different lighting possibilities and see just what you can do with this keyboard, here it is. This is the K65 RGB LUX full spectrum. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys took something away from this, and definitely check it out. Great opportunity if you can get your hands on one of these. Thanks.